So hello everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Guadalupe Gonzalez. I work here at the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce as a member services program manager. This is my second year doing a small business week, and it's one of my favorite things because we have so many valuable workshops that we organize and so many valuable resources that I know are needed. We are a member organization, and most of our programming is tailored for our membership, but really one of the main goals and missions of the chamber is to support businesses in San Leandro, big and small. And so this is our opportunity to gauge a wider network, a wider business community, not just within our membership. So we love doing Small Business Week, participating with the city, partnering with the city, to bring workshops that are pertinent to the trends around the small business community. And this is our second day of Small Business Week, a little different from Small Business Week. It's a week after National Small Business Week to fit our own programming. But we still have a lot of very cool workshops, and I encourage everybody to look at our calendar events for those workshops. Without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Starks, who is here with the Renaissance Entrepreneurial Center, who is a consultant there. And we are collaborating with them for the first time, but we're really excited because they do really valuable work all over California and in the Bay Area. And we just really are fortunate to have, these resources and expertise with us today. They do have their own programming to support entrepreneurs and small businesses and businesses all over. So I do suggest connecting with their programming as well and getting to know them deeper. Dr. Stark is the CEO of DJS Business Solutions and loves helping people plan, optimize, and launch their new business. Dr. Starks brings over 15 years of business experience, including several years as an instructor and consultant for Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. She has spent the majority of her career in business management and developed as well as organized trainings, gaining experience in areas of technical assistance, workshop presenting, and business advising. While business management and development is her primary function by day, she also enjoys spending time with her family, painting, publishing journals, and traveling. So without further ado, Dr. Starks, thank you for being here, and I will go ahead and give you the floor so we could start this amazing workshop. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting the Renaissance Center to be a part of this great work that you all are doing out here. The business community definitely needs everything, right? Resources, information, access to capital. So it's amazing what you all are doing as well. My name is Dr. Dene Starks-McGee, and I go by Dr. Dene or Dr. D. A little bit about myself. I am a business consultant, and I contract in with other organizations to help them along the way with helping businesses start, grow, scale, fund, all of that good stuff. So I have a wealth of resources. I teach a wealth of classes, anything from just business starting all the way through scaling, government contracting, all of the above. So if anybody needs a resource, has any questions, definitely ask them tonight. The Renaissance Center is a great organization. They are surrounded throughout the Bay Area within California. So similar to your small business development centers, they are entrepreneurial centers that are here providing workshops, also providing one-on-one consulting services and additional services. So if someone needs a website built, you can actually go through the Renaissance Center to get one built, right? Free of charge. There's so many benefits to becoming a client of the Renaissance Center, and all of the services are free through the center. So absolutely encourage everyone to check out the Renaissance Center. You can go to rencenter.org and you can look at the website. You can see all of the locations. You do have to be located in one of their territories, and you'll sign up for that particular center to be able to tap into all the services that are offered. But again, these services are here free of charge to the business community, just to help everyone. If you're at the starting stage, if you're thinking about it, there's help even for you. If you're already going and you're 40 years in and you just trying to do something different, right? There's help for you. So it is an awesome organization. So I do a lot of the teaching and the training. I am a college professor. I teach business, entrepreneurship, nonprofit management, things like that. So again, everything I do is kind of wrapped up into business, whether it's the education side of business or the actual tangible business side of business. So again, I am a wealth of a resource. So if anybody needs any information or where to go, how-tos, certainly ask those questions tonight. So I'm going to jump right in. If you wouldn't mind, could you type in the chat, type a 1 if you are starting your business, and type a 2 if you're already in business. So a 1 if you're starting your business and a 2 if you're already in business. So we'll just kind of see where we are right now, who's in the room and things like that. So we're about neck and neck right now. We have some 2s, we have some 1s. So we have a little bit of everything. So again, a 1 if you're starting, a 2 if you're already in business. And then what will happen is, as I go along this presentation, I will stop along the way to ask if there are any questions. But if you have a question before we get to that point, please type it in the chat, because I do not want you to forget your question. It happens all the time. So I don't want you to forget your questions. So again, if you have them, type it in the chat just so you don't forget, and we will get to it when we stop along the way. So we're going to jump right in. I'm going to share my screen. And let me make this presentation bigger. So tonight's session is really on business fundamentals. So whether you're starting, you're growing, you're scaling, no matter where you are in business, you're going to get something out of tonight's session. It's a little bit of everything for everyone, right? Just to be successful in business. So again, it's facilitated by myself, Dr. Dene, by way of the Renaissance Center. So tonight we will be going over steps for starting a business, strategies for growth, challenges and solutions in business. So even if you're just starting and you want to know, like, what could the future look like for obstacles that could potentially come my way, right? These are some things you could learn and learn ahead of time, so that when they come, you already have a plan in place to already just kind of destroy those obstacles and keep going, right? Because we know that obstacles are going to come, life is going to do what it does, right? Things are going to happen. But as long as we set our businesses up correctly and have our foundation strong, we're going to be able to withstand anything that comes our way. So first, we're jumping into our steps for starting a business. And the first thing you really want to do when you are thinking about starting a business is you want to do some research, right? You want to find out if what you're thinking is a good idea, if what you're thinking is a viable idea, a profitable idea, right? You can do something that's so quick and easy, such as go to Google and type in, what is the industry, what size is the industry for a beautician, right, in California or in your local city? You're going to be able to pull up data right then and there that tells you. Now, it's not deep research. This is just basics, right? To get you started and to let you know off the bat, yes, there is an opportunity here. Yes, there's a viable opportunity here. Market research is key, not just for knowing, is this a good business? Is this where I should start? Or maybe I should tweak something, but it also helps you to identify what the problems are. Everybody's in business to solve a problem. If you're not, you should be, right? Because that's how you grow, right? That's how you scale. We're here to solve problems. And so understanding what the problems are can help you navigate the business space a lot cleaner and a lot clearer. It'll help you with just mental clarity moving forward in the business. Understanding who your competitors are is key. You have to know who your competitors are. All businesses have competitors. I don't care what industry you're in, if you're in food businesses, food services, hospitality, technology, retail, no matter what industry you're going into, there are going to be some competitors. There's going to be some direct competitors, meaning these folks are doing the same thing that you're doing. They may have a couple of differences here and there, but they're essentially doing the same thing that you're doing. Then you might have some indirect competitors where they're not doing, maybe they don't have a retail store that you can walk into. Maybe their retail store is online only, so it's only e-commerce, right? So again, you want to know that. Why? Because you can lead people to your store. You can say, hey, we have an actual location you can walk into. You don't have to go online and figure out if something's going to fit, if something's going to work, if something's not going to work, right? So in your market research, you can also find competitors. So everything goes hand in hand when you are assessing if it's time to start your business. Then you want to be thinking about the business idea validation. Again, is this an actual idea that can turn into something profitable, right? We don't necessarily want to start businesses just to start them, right? Every business has a mission. Every business has a purpose behind it. Every business, of course, is here to solve a problem. So again, you want to make sure that your idea is validated. How do you validate your idea? If you're creating something, you could have a prototype. If you are thinking about it, you can actually talk to friends and family and get their response. Hey, if there was a business out here that did this, this, and this, would you support that business? If most of them say no, then maybe it's not a good business, right? Or you go to the next group of people to ask them. You can do surveys, you can do focus groups. There's so many things you can do to figure out if this is a good idea. But first, you really want to do your market research. I'm going to stop right here. Are there any questions? I see a couple questions in it after
Yeah,
about asking
So
about slides.
Dene, some folks are asking if we would have if they will have access to the slides.
No, the slides are not accessible, but it's on the recording. So if you're sending out the recording, they'll certainly get the slides with that.
Very true.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, then we get into the legal and financial considerations. So when you're starting a business, even scaling a business, you have to look at your business structure, right? You have your sole proprietorships, partnerships, your LLCs, which are not corporations. Those are limited liability companies. You have corporations, you have nonprofit corporations, right? There's many different structures that you can choose for your business. Some people start out as a sole proprietorship because of the, taxes that are not due, right? You don't have to pay the $800 a year franchise tax as a sole proprietor. If you're a sole proprietor, it's still a good idea to create some level of separation between you and your business. Meaning, if you're a sole proprietor, everything's going to be on you as a person, right? All assets, all liabilities, everything comes back on you. If you at least separate yourself by getting a tax ID number, which is also known as an EIN number, then at least you have something that says this number is associated to my business, right? And you really start building that business credibility there. Then you have your LLCs, which are your limited liability companies. They're limited liability because there's still a sole proprietor aspect in the LLC. So when you file your taxes, you have the opportunity to file your taxes as a sole proprietor or as a corporation. Now, when to do that, you want to talk to your tax professional because everybody's not at that stage yet where they should file it as a corporation, right? Some people are still at the stage where it makes the most sense to file as a sole proprietorship. An LLC does have an $800 a year franchise tax that is due every year. So your year one starts the year that you file your LLC. So if you have filed your LLC anytime in 2024, except like the last 15 days of the year, then you will still have the $800 tax for 2024. So it's important to know all of that as you're going into this, right? Because do you necessarily need to start out with an LLC, or are you okay to start out with a sole proprietorship? There are some types of businesses, like professional businesses, people that are in professional services, such as like engineering, architects, attorneys, and things like that, that cannot have an LLC in the state of California. So for those, they have to be filed as corporations or an LLP, which is a limited liability partnership, or a LP, limited partnership. So many different structures out there. So if you guys have any questions, certainly ask them, because there's a lot of information. Then you want to go into your financial planning. You want to make sure that, number one, you have a business plan. And in today's time, the business plans are so easy to get done. You can work with consultants to get them done. And again, if you go through the Renaissance Center, those things can be, they're not done for you, but you can get help with a consultant to complete your business plan. You can check out online resources. There's a lot of resources out there that are free to help you get your business plan done and get it done with the financial projections. Sometimes people are afraid of the financial projections because it is a large undertaking if you're not really into numbers and worksheets and all that stuff. But there are so many kind of easier ways to get it done and still be able to achieve your goals of completion. But financial planning is key. So if you're starting a business, if you're already in business, you have to have a way to manage these finances. So what sort of systems could you be using? You could be using Excel spreadsheets, or you could use online systems such as QuickBooks or the Wave app, Zero, things like that, right? Things that are going to help you along the way with financial management that are a little more automated. That way, everything's kind of integrated and you don't have to keep on top of remembering everything all the time, right? So you want to do this and put in these strategies for long-term sustainability, for sure. Registration and compliance, again, depending on what type of structure you choose for your business, there is going to be some registration and compliance that you have to complete. If you are selling products, if you are selling food and things like that, you're going to have to get a seller's permit. There may be certain licenses that you have to have. You know, if you're an insurance agent or something like that, you certainly got to be licensed. Real estate agents, right? Knowing what you need to have in place before you launch is going to be key. It's going to save you time, money, and it might even save you some troubles along the way. I'll stop right here. Are there any questions? I see a few questions in the chat. Let's see. Is Renaissance Center paid subscription based in any fashion? I don't think I understand that question. Are you able to unmute?
Yeah, so I went to the website and I'm sort of like listening and browsing it, and it just has sort of like it doesn't have any pricing or subscription information, and so I'm not quite understanding the how it is set up, or
Oh, it's free.
how it's organized.
It's free. So like I
Okay.
stated in the beginning, the services through the Renaissance Center is free.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that that's real.
Yeah,
I
so you're
guess.
not going to find anything that you have to pay for through the Renaissance Center. Unless
Okay, that's amazing.
they may be hosting an event, right? It's not services
Mhm.
to clients, but they may be hosting an event and there may be some sort of an entry fee for that. That might be the only time you see it, but you have to be a client in order to get that information. But again, the services are free.
That's absolutely amazing, and that I didn't even believe it. So thank you.
Yeah,
That's why I
yeah,
had to ask.
yeah, definitely. Thank you for clarifying that. That's great. Let's see. Does acquiring a DBA before you get a sole proprietorship helps create, maybe that's supposed to be certain or pertain between the business owner and the businesses. So does it create a difference? Let's see. Are you able to unmute? Is it Vinkia?
Yes, Vinkia. Sorry, I think I had a typo in there, but I want to know if getting a DBA creates any separation between the business owner and the business, like you were mentioning before.
In a sole proprietorship, there is no separation. So whether you file a DBA or not, whether you get an EIN or not, you are your business. So your business is identified as you as a person. So all of your personal assets, your personal liabilities, liabilities are wrapped into you as the business owner, because you are one and the same as a sole proprietor. it's a good idea to file a DBA because it creates credibility as a business owner to those on the outside, right? Not necessarily creating any level of separation for the inside, which is for the business itself or the business owner. So no, it does not create any sort of separation, but it can create some credibility.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. That was a great question. Any other questions?
I have a question. Would it be correct then to say the only separation is like your business structure? How you set up your business structure is the only true separation, right?
Yes. So if you legally file your business as something, right? Legally filing in the state means an LLC, a corporation, a nonprofit corporation, or what have you. When you legally file those documents, there the separation begins, right? Because now you have a layer with an LLC, you have a layer, right? Kind of have a wall that separates you. It's still limited liability because under certain circumstances, a person will still be fall onto the sole proprietor side, right? But it creates that barrier there. It allows you to get government contracts. It allows you to get certified as a minority-owned business, a woman-owned business, and all these things. Those are things you can't do as a sole proprietor, or those opportunities would be extremely limited as a sole proprietor. So again, if you want to have any level of separation, then legally, if you want to have that separation. Now, every business, even a sole proprietor, should have insurance. And that's just, it's not a separation, it's a backing. It's just coverage, right? And that's for that's even for a sole proprietor. So if you are like a homemaker or something like that, and you're a crafter and you're selling on Etsy or Amazon or something, you still want to have insurance, right? But the LLC structure is there to offer a layer of protection. The corporation structure completely separates you from your business. So there's no personal liability in a corporation, right? You have a lot more responsibility and compliance as a corporation, but there's no personal liability in a corporation.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
How would somebody determine what business structure is best for them? Is there some sort of criteria? Is it receipts? Is it how big your business is going to be? What is that?
Yeah, so everybody kind of answers that slightly different, but I tell people to file according to your goals. What are your business goals, right? And then look at the type of business that you have. If you have a high risk business, if you're like some sort of an underwater welder, right? You don't need to be an LLC or sole proprietorship. You need to be a corporation because you need to separate yourself from the business. Anything can go wrong. And at that level, it could be very costly, right? So you're looking at the risk versus the rewards, right? Do I have something that's high risk or do I have something that's low risk? Does it make more sense for me financially because I'm not even making $800 a year to have to pay that tax? Does it make sense for me to actually file an LLC, right? So I think you have to be realistic about your situation, about what it is that you're doing in your business. And then also, if you actually need to be, like, is it required that you set up your filing as a particular thing from the beginning, right? Because again, certain professional services such as engineering and things like that, attorneys, they don't have many options. They only have a few options that they can file, right? So then you know that your options are very limited when it comes to that. You're just going to file what you're allowed to file in the state of California. If you're a sole proprietorship or you're thinking about a sole proprietorship and you're thinking, when do I convert over to an LLC? Some tax professionals will tell you a rule of thumb is once you make about $50,000 a year, then you might want to start looking at converting over to an LLC because you can put yourself on as an employee. Then you get to pay the payroll taxes and all those things, but you also get to reap the benefits of it as well once you reach that threshold, right? Then you can file the taxes as an LLC on the corporation tax, right? Because there's more benefit to that. So again, there's like so many different ways you could go, but again, go back to your goals as a business owner. If your goal is to build business credit, get into government contracting, or get certified, or certain other things, right? You're only going to be able to do that as an LLC, a corporation, or something higher level that's filed through the state. Nowadays, they're tightening this up real strong because a lot of businesses don't want to do business with a person. Because if you're a sole proprietorship filing, that means they're putting all the risk in your hands, right? They're taking all the chances, and a lot of people are starting to stay away from that post-COVID. Great question, though. Let's see. Okay, I see another question in chat. Is it possible to switch from a sole proprietor to an LLC once you're? Yes, absolutely. Yep. So definitely answered that. Any other questions before we go on? These are great. These are great questions. All right. So let's see, the setup and design, the organizational setup and design, right? So how's your organization going to be set up? You have to choose that, right? Your structure. Are you okay with being a sole proprietorship right now? Are you going to start out as an LLC? Maybe you come across an opportunity that's like a contract, but you can't get it because you're not an LLC. You're not a corporation. So you have to file that way. You have to start out that way because of the opportunity that you're up against, right? There's going to be some things that you have to do to keep everything going, to keep things in compliance and things like that, to keep your business in operational, right? So you got to have some resource allocation. You want to be putting the right resources in the right places, right? You want to make sure that your technology is up to par. In this day and age, if you don't even have a website, it's not to say that your business can't grow, but imagine how much more it would grow, right? Now, some people are afraid of that growth because they say, well, I don't really have capacity to take on more clients, so I'm good, you know? And if that's you, that's perfectly fine. But you still want to make sure that your technology is most up to date, right? You don't want to use something that's older that may not have like an antivirus protection or some sort of cybersecurity, right? Nowadays, there's so many people hacking systems and tapping into people's Wi-Fi's and all kinds of scary stuff, right? So you want to make sure that you're implementing systems and you're having processes that makes it easier, not only for you, but for your clients as well. You also want to have some sort of an infrastructure. That means what sort of team do you have, right? We all have to have a team. Now, that does not equal employees. Team does not equal employees. You don't necessarily need employees, but you have to have a team. We can't do this thing by ourselves, right? So we want to make sure that we're allocating the correct resources to where it needs to be. Maybe it is time to contract in someone to do graphic design. That's allocating resources where it needs to be. Maybe we need a marketing specialist or a social media manager. Now it's time to actually hire a freelancer as an independent contractor, right? Or get them to do certain projects and programs for us. So thinking about that is going to be helpful, and thinking about that ahead of time. When you're starting your business, money and marketing are the two biggest things, not just starting, but scaling, growing. Anything you want to do in business, it takes marketing and it takes money. Establishing your processes, your workflows, your day-to-day, right? Most of us are owner-operator. If we do not have a good process in place to help us with our day-to-day operations, we'll kind of be all over the place, right? We have to have our time management skills like either really good or use some resources to help us with that, right? We've got to have some automation in place, right? If somebody goes to your website, are they able to just book an appointment right then and there? Are they able to make a payment on your website? Like, how can they interact with you so that you don't have to go chasing, right, and following behind? You can be proactive about it. That's the automation process. Then there's the risk management process, right? Everything has a risk. Everything. Technology has a risk. There's cybersecurity. There's supply chain disruptions. We saw that post-COVID with all those ships sitting out on the docks and on the waters, right? There's so many changes in laws and the economy, and so many things are happening. But in our day-to-day businesses, we also have risk, right? Some of those things we can control. Some of those things are going to be outside of our control. This is where your insurance comes in. You definitely want to have business insurance, commercial general liability at minimum. You want to have commercial general liability. As you're growing or as you have a need, then you want to make sure you have some level of property coverage as well, commercial property coverage. Now, a lot of general liability policies these days come with at least $5,000 of coverage for your property. So again, definitely have the general liability, but also if you are offering professional services, like you have a license of some sort, like a real estate license, insurance, like things like that, you certainly want to have your errors and omissions, is what it's called, professional liability insurance as well. So again, it's all about trying to mitigate those risks. Are there any questions? I don't see any in the chat. All right, moving right along. So marketing and branding. So two different things, right? Marketing is more of your promotions, your sales strategies, all of that stuff. Your branding is everything. It's your total brand. Who are you and what are you known as? That's what you're communicating in your marketing, right? So you're communicating your brand. You're showing up is your brand, right? So finding your target market, especially if you are kind of new, might be challenging sometimes, right? Sometimes it's difficult to identify, okay, who's my actual target market, right? What sorts of behaviors do they have? What sorts of buying patterns do they have? This is where that market research comes from, right? It comes from just kind of asking questions, learning, seeing what people are doing, seeing what the needs are, right? There's a church that I know of that went down to a community center because they had a bunch of land on their property. And they say, we want to do something with this land, but we don't know what to do. So they went down to a community center to do some market research. And they looked at, they talked to the community center, they found out what they don't have in that community. And what they didn't have in that community is senior housing. So what did they do? They used their land to contract with government. And now they have senior apartments, right? They solved problems. And these problems weren't there before, right? I mean, it wasn't known to them, but they went down to the community center, local community. They are engaging, networking, all that good stuff. But they're also building their brand. We're not just a church, right? We're out here supporting community and we're taking action, right? We're not doing anything else. We're taking action. So again, you may not know who your target audience is, but once you do a little bit of digging and a little bit of research, you may be able to pull it out of, right? Whatever the problems are, whatever the needs are. Your brand development, you definitely want to have a strong brand identity. Sometimes you see people that are, you know, like on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, and all those places, and they have brand ambassadors and they have influencers and things like that. There are ways to get those things at a reasonable cost if you need one, right? If you need one. But you do have to have some sort of a marketing budget, right? Because it takes money to make money, and it takes money to do marketing and all these things, right? But again, all of this is wrapped up into your brand, right? Your identity, your logos, your colors, your taglines, your brand voice, right? Do you always come across as very peaceful and calming? And, you know, do people build trust with you or feel like they can trust easily and things like that, right? And then you have some promotional tactics. The promotional tactics are more closely related to your marketing and your sales strategies. So that's like when you see buy one, get one free, or when you see 25% off, or you know what, thank you for being our first time customer. Here is a coupon for 5% off your next purchase. Those are promotional strategies, right? And they really do work. Think about the times when you've been a return customer because you got a coupon, or because you got a discount, or because you got to bring a friend and the friend got to get services for free and things like that. So you want to think about, as you're thinking about your marketing strategies, you want to be thinking about what sorts of things can you do to create visibility for your brand by way of promotions. How are you promoting it? Are you going to have billboards? Are you going to be on the corner with the signs? Are you going to pay somebody a couple of hours a day to go and put flyers out? What is this going to look like? If you have a brick and mortar building, do you have a sign out front where people can recognize it, can know that you're there? So there's all kinds of promotional strategies that we can put in place to really start and grow our businesses. So some different strategies for growth when we're thinking about growing, right? So first we're starting, then we start thinking about growing. Usually you want to be thinking about growing at about year 3. That's generally kind of rule of thumb, right? So about year 3 is the time frame. When it comes to expanding, you're really looking at exploring new opportunities, new products lines, new services, new things that you can offer to your current clients, repeat clients, as well as attract new clients. That means that you might want to start thinking about diversification, meaning what do I have right now and what can I add to, right? What is different that I can add to? So maybe you're like a day spa. Maybe you want to add in, you already do facials, you already do other things. Maybe you want to add in red light therapy. Maybe you want to partner with a nurse practitioner and bring in some wellness services, right? That's diversification. You don't have all your eggs in that one basket. Then there are strategic partnerships. This is key. You want to be out there networking and building relationships. That's what it's about in business, is building relationships. So again, with a strategic partner, this is someone who is on the same pathway that you're on, right? Somebody that may have access or knowledge or industry experience in a particular area that can complement your area of expertise. And together, you all can go forward, right? So again, you want to be thinking about, who could that be? Who could that be that could help me in these areas and I can help them? We together can go out there and do greater for the community and for the clients that we serve. And then there's also opportunities sometimes for franchising and licensing. Licensing is more common amongst the small business community than the franchising. Franchising, you often have to have a larger pot of money on hand and ready to get into franchising. There are some smaller, under $30,000 franchising opportunities out there, but some people don't want to get into that. Some people want to go to get into Chick-fil-A or get into, Starbucks or Subway. Those are really popular, UPS stores and things like that. So you certainly want to be thinking about that. Maybe you want to turn your business into a franchise, right? It's a great idea, especially if you have something where people have always said, it would be great if I didn't have to travel 3 hours to come here, right? I wish you had one closer to me. Things like that. That may be opportunity to start working with a business consultant to talk about franchising, talk about expanding the business. Then you have your customer acquisition and retention. So although you've started, you're going on, right? You still have to get the customers, you have to maintain those customers, and then you have to always be getting new customers, right? How do you do that? That's a huge cycle right there to try to tackle. So a lot of times people utilize different systems, but a lot of systems such as maybe you've heard of like MailChimp, MailerLite, Constant Contact, things like that. Those are called customer relationship management systems. And those CRM systems, what they do is they house the information, right? So you could be collecting business cards, and once you put that email in the system, right, now you have the email list, right? So like many of us have been put on some of these email lists because we get these emails all the time that we didn't even sign up for, right? Somewhere along the way, you made a purchase or you put your email in the system, they added you to their CRM system. It's a great lead magnet because again, whether you buy or not, if it doesn't go to spam, it's likely you'll see it. It's more likely maybe you'll open it, right? So at least the information is getting in front of you and it's all marketing. Also, the CRM systems allow you to have catered messaging to particular clients or to groups, right? So maybe you have a group that's current clients, and then another group that's new clients, and then another group, people that you met at networking events that are not clients, right? They're just kind of people you met along the way. You can send particular messaging to each group that is specific to that group and building that group, right? So it's great. It's great. And a lot of those resources you can, as long as you have under 5,000 contacts, you can use them for free. Then it may be time to upgrade. So it's kind of like the old school kind of Rolodex where you're kind of looking through all the business cards and trying to find somebody. This is a quicker, more technological system that you can utilize to kind of segment off potential clients, current clients, people you met along the way. Referral programs are great for building businesses. If you have like, you know, refer a friend or some sort of a promotion where you have a referral program or some sort of incentive for referrals, right? Maybe it's refer a friend and then you get your service, your next service for free, or your next couple of products for free, right? There could be all kinds of things that drive traffic to your business, and referral programs certainly do that with the discounts that are usually offered. And then you have feedback utilization. So you want to get feedback. You certainly want to get feedback. Nowadays, people are giving feedback on Yelp. They're giving feedback on Google reviews, right? There are some places where there are some great places to where you need to get some feedback from and have it on those platforms, right? So you can use feedback as a marketing tool. Have you ever seen some of the social media marketing that's out there that'll be like, check out our customer reviews, and they'll show like a bunch of different reviews, right? That's the feedback that's been collected. There's also opportunity with feedback for you to do customer satisfaction surveys, right? Follow-up is key. So no matter if you've had one customer or 500 customers, you have to have a follow-up strategy, because that's what helps build trust. That's what helps builds relationships. That's what keeps people coming back. They feel valued, right? Think about the times when somebody asked you your opinion. How did you feel after you used our skincare products? What did it make you feel like? It probably make you feel valued that they even asked for your opinion, right? You weren't just a dollar to them. So again, you want to certainly secure feedback. Are there any questions? I'll stop right here. Are there any questions? I don't see any in the chat. So, all right, moving right along. Okay, we'll go back. Jason.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. I do have a question real quick, just on customer retention. If there's anything that you've noticed that really works for customer retention or new customer acquisition, just any tips or tricks that you've picked up?
Yes, great question. So with customer acquisition and then retention are two different things, right? So two different strategies. But for customer acquisition, getting new customers, it takes heavy marketing. It takes heavy marketing. So that's why I always tell people, have a marketing budget. It doesn't have to be excessively high, right? But certainly have a budget that you can tap into to you know, do some meta ads, where meta goes to Facebook and Instagram. You can do some Google ads, right? You can do some things. Even Google has a small business grant, and it covers like $5,000 worth of ads, right? Which is great, because that's going to be a lot of ads going out. So again, definitely utilize technology for that. Have your budget and do lots and lots and lots of marketing, and diversify your marketing, right? So have your social media platform, but absolutely attend events when you can, right? Sometimes it's important to be in the face of people, whether it's a conference, whether it's some sort of a networking event, you know, joining groups such as the chambers and the different associations, affiliating yourself, meeting and greeting, all of that stuff matters when it comes to gaining new customers. When it comes to retention, folks really want to feel that value, right? That value that you bring. Like, not only did I purchase one time, but I'm absolutely going to go back, right? Because the quality was good and all this other thing. So again, with retention, having a strong follow-up strategy is really going to help boost your retention rates. A lot of times people get busy, just like we all do, right? We get busy. We're just going on and on and on. But as soon as we get that email or that text message reminder that says, hey, it's been a while since you've visited us, sometimes we're like, you know what, you're right. I need to come back because I need to purchase some more products, or I need to, you know, tap in, and it is time for me to book a service. You know what I mean? So having a strong follow-up strategy is certainly going to definitely help with that as well. Great question. Great question. What are some CRMs that are best for small businesses? So the ones that I personally like and have used, and I've used all of these to figure out which one is like the better one, at least for me. So depending on what type of personality you have, learning style, and all that stuff, MailerLite is kind of like a number one for me, right? They have Constant Contact, they have MailChimp, To me, MailerLite is easy because you can literally create all your messaging. You can drag and drop. All of them do essentially the same thing. It's just a matter of ease of usage and using the platform to best benefit you. So again, I would say MailerLite is number one, just because of how easy it is to use. MailChimp is good. All of them, you get analytics. All of them, you can do upload by Excel spreadsheet or CSV or something like that. So if you have all of your contacts in an Excel spreadsheet, that's going to be easier. That's going to be much easier to upload and get in the system than it is to sit there and add each person one-on-one, right? So those are top three: Constant Contact, there's MailerLite and MailChimp. There are many others, many others, but those are top three. Is there any reason someone wouldn't want to start as a sole proprietorship versus an LLC if they're starting a real small business? Yes, again, it goes back to your goals. So even if you're starting a real small business, you may be starting it that way, but overnight, any opportunity can happen that goes from a small business to a large business, right? Literally, these opportunities can come, they can be life-changing, game-changing for your business. Will you be ready to, will you have the capacity? Will you have all these things in place to be able to accept this opportunity if it comes along the way, right? You can certainly stay a sole proprietorship as long as you need to, but you know, if you have goals and those goals require that in order for you to achieve them, you need to be an LLC, you need to be a corporation or something like that, then that's what you want to use as your guide there. You want to use that as your guide to see which one makes the most sense. Now, if you start as an LLC and you see that it's not working out, you can always dissolve the LLC. And then you'll just be back to a sole proprietorship if that's something that you need to do. So those opportunities are there. You can always dissolve a corporation and things. A lot more work, right, to dissolve a corporation, but you can do it. So again, if anybody was interested in starting an LLC, trying it, seeing if it works, it doesn't work, then boom, you can get rid of it, right? You really won't know what those differences are until you really kind of see how much revenue that you start generating and going from there, you know, because again, you're going to have the $800 a year franchise tax. So if you're at least making $800 a year, right, it could be worth it. But again, if you have goals to eventually do certain things with your business and tap into certain benefits of being in business, then you can't be a sole proprietor to do that. So that could be your guiding force as well. Great questions. So,
Hi, I have a question. I'm sorry.
uh-huh.
I have a question. I started getting a lot of marketing people trying to solicit my business for things called search engine optimization, SBO or something like that. And it was a little overwhelming. So many people that were calling me, and also to choose a company. How do you choose the right marketing company for you?
So are you talking specifically about SEO?
They offered like to put me first on Google. They offered me to like place me on Google. They're like, you're not even showing up on Google, or just different strategies that they had. And
Yeah.
it was just too overwhelming. So I didn't end up getting anybody, but I know I need somebody. So how
Yeah.
do you choose?
Yeah, so if you're getting like an email from like an email marketing from a company, if you reply back or something like that, you're getting information from people you've never met or people you can't necessarily talk to, and it's just email based. You certainly want to do your digging to make sure that this is a real company, because there's a lot of like fake hacker type stuff out there. So you want to make sure, one, do your research, look online, see if this is a real company. Look at their social media pages, look at their Google page, right, to see if they're on Google, and things like that, right? So you just first want to verify that the company is real. And then if you're going to be choosing, you certainly want to choose one that's A, within your budget, and that's B, going to give you the most outcomes, right? So if it's just SEO, meaning you just pop up at the top of the list, then if somebody's trying to charge you a lot of money, then that's probably not going to be the one to go with, right? Because again, if it's just SEO, then you want more than that for that dollar amount, right? So again, do some digging. You can always look up the company. You can research the company. I encourage everybody to do that, especially nowadays, because a lot of people are marketing that they do SEO and all this stuff. If you are not on Google, if you have not captured your Google business page, I encourage you to do that. It's free. That's free. So if you go into Google My Business, you can capture your Google page, and that means you can set up your profile. You can put your hours of operation, your contact information. You could set it all up, and then people can start leaving you reviews on your Google page, right? And now you have a presence on Google. That is free. So again, if you're determining when is it time to hire someone, well, then evaluate what the goals are, right? Is it time to go next level? Is it time to reach a wider audience? Is it time for me to expand? Where am I at in this process? Great question.
One more question, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
And then with that, there was also people that were what do they call those people? Virtual assistants.
Yes.
And they're saying that's even cheaper than hiring a marketing person, but I wasn't, they were working like in the Philippines schedule.
Yep.
I don't know, I just thought it was a little, I don't know, I thought it was a little fishy, to tell you the truth, to pay the money and then, you know, maybe they, I don't know, has anybody worked with virtual assistants?
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff is real, right? So if you go to upwork.com, you're going to find all kinds of freelancers there that are selling their services, including tons of virtual assistants. You can get a virtual assistant for as little as $3 an hour that can get a lot of work done for you. So marketing strategies, social media management, everything can all be done by a virtual assistant. So it's absolutely real. It certainly is real. And again, if you're going to secure a virtual assistant, definitely do your due diligence to research, find the right platforms to secure them from. I personally choose Upwork because Upwork is known, right? They're already credible. People have been doing this for many years. They have so many freelancers on there that can get so much done. You can choose where you want to hire somebody from. So you can choose the Philippines, you can choose India, you can choose America, you can choose wherever, right? Again, you can get a lot done for as little as $3 an hour and as much as, $100, a couple of $100 an hour. So there's literally something for everybody when you hire a freelancer. You can hire a freelancer through upwork.com, through freelancer.com, or through fiverr.com. So those are three different freelance sites that you can find some very credible freelancers on. Great questions. For the sake of time, we're going to keep moving. So we have financial management for growth, right? So as we're growing, our financials are going to be growing, right? Our financial opportunities are going to be growing. We have to make sure that we are managing our finances appropriately. Make sure that you're filing the taxes. Make sure that if you have business expenses, if you are paying and spending anything for your business, that is a business expense, right? So if you have a website and you have to pay hosting fees, if you have business emails and you have to pay the subscription fees, if you have QuickBooks and you're paying a fee for that, if you file legally, even if you filed a DBA, you have a fee for that, right? You want to make sure that you are filing what you have to file, capture it as a business expense, but also monitor where the revenues are coming from as well, right? A lot of people do PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Square. They have money coming in from all sorts of places, right? Make sure that you have a system that can capture all of that. You want to offload everything out of your Cash App every day. You want to offload everything out of your PayPal every day, your Venmo, because again, when it comes time to look at financial worksheets and spreadsheets or do your financial projections, they're not going to be accurate if you left money sitting in those other portals, right? So you want to make sure you have those systems in place. Again, if you're going to use QuickBooks, you can certainly offload all of those into your QuickBooks app and it'll just do everything for you, right? That's where we get into automation and optimization for our businesses. Many of us, again, are owner operators, so we've got to figure out how to do these things and get them done efficiently, but also help us out with time, right? And then you want to eventually start exploring some investment opportunities, right? There may be a need along the way for some sort of a venture capitalist or some sort of angel investor, right? To pour some more money into us so that we can scale, grow, and go next level. they are a strategic partner whenever you're ready for that, right? Maybe you want to get into housing because there's a whole big problem right now with housing. So maybe you have a solution to that. Maybe you need some capital to be able to do that. Well, you have to start looking into this, but you've also got to be financially ready to be approved for that, right? And then your cost optimization. So making sure that your prices are where they should be, right? What's the market rate? Are you above the market rate? Are you below the market rate? Are you paying, do you have hired staff? Are you paying what you should be paying? Are they classified correctly as employees or independent contractors? What does this look like? You want to certainly be managing all of that. And then you have your innovation, right? It's always a good idea to be coming up with something new, coming up with the latest and greatest, coming up with something creative, right? Maybe something that we never thought would work actually could work right now. When you think about what's happening online, on the different digital platforms, there's a lot of trends out there. And so if we capitalize on, if we have something that can capitalize on the latest trends and what's going out there, what's going on, then if we have a plan for it, right? We have a plan for innovation or adapting our business, right? It may not be creating something new. It's just changing a little bit on what we already have, right? That you can think of and come up with to be able to go next level, right? Think about the Stanley Cup. That thing's been around for 75 years. And this year, it just, or into last year or whatever, it went viral. It went viral. These cups are like $75 or whatever it is, but it went viral. Folks are out here paying it. There's bridal parties that are giving them away as a gift to their bridal staff, right? These are Stanley Cups. Now, what is the trend? A lot of people in this manufacturing space are manufacturing similar looking Stanley Cups, right? Because it's the latest trend. It's the latest and greatest, right? So again, see where the market trends are and see how you can fit into that to start capitalizing on what's going on out there. You want to make sure that you have some business practices that are good. You're operating with integrity. You have good, strong core values and things like that. The market is always changing. So again, understanding that what worked for you 5 years ago is probably not going to work in 10 years, right? Things are changing and they're changing quickly. So adapting to that is going to be key. Then you have some challenges and solutions in business, right? So as you are growing, as you are moving and shaking, after you've launched, everything's ongoing, you're 5, 6, 7 years in, right? You have now maybe come to a point where you have to kind of think about some stuff, right? Like, what can my new strategy be? What could be the latest and greatest thing that I offer to my client base, or as a new product, or as a new service, right? It may be time to start doing some differentiation in your business, right? It's kind of like diversification. You're just offering different things. But when you are doing differentiation, you're saying this is completely different than that, right? We had an old strategy in place where everything was done by hand. We hand wrote letters and all this kind of thing. Well, now our strategy is 100% to use technology. Boom, done and done, right? Now you have set yourself apart from those who are still doing it what we would consider an old school way, right? Then you have your customer experience enhancements. What could you be offering your customers that is just next level, right? It's next level. Is it a particular service? Is it a particular product? Is it a particular value add, right? Is it adding value somewhere else, right? Maybe they came to you for a particular service and you offered them a $50 gift card to a restaurant or something like that. Maybe you sent a Mother's Day card, a Father's Day card, a Christmas card, right? People really value that. They really do remember those extra steps to connect and those extra engagement opportunities. And then you have your innovative marketing. So with marketing, it has to be creative. You have to use creative marketing strategies. If you're going to get the word out and continue to get the word out and continue to grow and continue to knock out these goals, you've got to keep innovating with your marketing. The sorts of marketing that we saw 15 years ago, it's not that you don't see it today, you just see less of it, right? Because now you see more technology driven, you see more social media driven, you see things where you're just on your phone and you can actually create a flyer right on your phone nowadays, where You may not have been able to do that before, right? You can have an app for your business. Your business can have an app, right? Years ago, we couldn't do that. So again, these are enhancements. These are things that are creative. These are next level things that we want to think about for the future of our business. As we're thinking about that, right, we definitely want to think about the financial constraints. So as a business owner, a lot of businesses start out with bootstrapping, and bootstrapping is you're just using your own personal money to fund your business. Eventually, you want to scale. You want to scale to where the business is running itself, paying for itself. How do you do that? You have to maybe tap into some of these small business grants that are out here. Tap into getting your business plan done, your financial projections, making sure that your personal finances are in order so that now maybe you can access a loan or access other forms of capital, right? So again, you want to be thinking about, how am I going to be bringing in money to where I don't have to pull it out of my own pocket, or the business doesn't always have to break even every single month, right? Then you want to do some financial forecasting. This is kind of looking in the future of the business. So when you're looking in the future of the business, what do the financials look like? You want to make sure that your financials are scaling at least 15% year over year. Meaning when you're doing your projections, when you're doing your forecasting, again, this is future. So look out 3 to 5 years. Don't write yourself in to where you have a deficit, right? Write yourself in to where there's always manageable and realistic growth. And that kind of benchmark is around 15 to 20% year over year is really where you want to be. And then have some debt management strategies in place, right? So again, a lot of people do things from their own personal funds, or they'll go out and they'll put things on credit cards, or, you know, have accumulate debt along the way, right? You want to make sure that you are monitoring your credit reports, making sure that things that need to be removed or things that need to be fixed are getting alleviated, right? You want to make sure that you have the best chances possible for positive financials, because in the event that you need something, even on an emergency basis, you'll be able to achieve that. Even if you're looking to build your business credit, you still have to have solid personal credit in order to still qualify for reasonable things on the business credit side. So it's not that you can have terrible personal credit and history and then just start something fresh on the business side. That personal side is your seedling into the business credit. So again, we want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence and doing our part. So I do see a question. Do you have any small business startup business grant resources? There are a lot of business grant resources. So before anybody even starts looking for some small business grants, you certainly want to make sure that you have a couple of things in place, such as, you know, your business plan. You want to make sure you have your financials in place. You also want to make sure that you have and fully understand what your mission is, right? Because there's multiple types of grants out there. That's a whole nother class. And if you end up partnering with Renaissance or what have you, I do teach business, growing your business with business grants classes. But again, the short answer is yes, there are many grant resources out there. The easiest one that I can tell you to go to is to go to the website called helloalice.com, and I'll put that in the chat. On Hello Alice, you'll be able to see what grants are available. So they get grant leads and then they just post them on their website. Many of them are for startups. They will tell you if it's for a startup or not for a startup. So as a startup, it's important, if you're looking for grants, make sure you use the proper terminology. You're looking for seed money is what you're looking for. That's what it's called. So you're looking for seed money grants. And so there's not many, but there are some. Look with your within your counties and your cities, and also look within like your small business development centers and places like that, because oftentimes they offer what's called accelerator programs, where it's like an 8-week program. At the end of the program, you pitch your presentation, and because you completed all the steps, now you get a grant, right? So look into that as well, because that could be a great opportunity if it's offered in your area. Again, I do encourage you to kind of take a deeper dive, if you can, into like grant writing and learning about grant researching, which is finding the grants. So scaling the business, right? We have infrastructure. So how are we going to make it go next level? That's our processes, that's our automation, that's our hiring, that's all of that. Talent acquisition. We have to make sure that we're building our team with a good, healthy company culture, right? We don't want people to come into a toxic environment because quite frankly, they're not going to stay, right? We don't want high turnover and things like that. These days, employees are quite different than when I got into my career field, right? Years ago. So the loyalty factors are different. Nowadays, people will work for 2 days and then they just quit, like for no reason and no response, right? So it's difficult already, but make sure that you have in place your core values and the things that you need to definitely make it a little easier on yourself. And then anything you're navigating with the supply chain. So if you are, if you have certain vendors out there, maybe you're selling food or something like that. If you have certain vendors out there, then you want to definitely be managing your inventory. You want to be managing the vendors and the suppliers, knowing who to go to for what whose price might be a little bit cheaper, and then you can charge whatever you need to charge and make a good revenue off of that. You just have to manage that appropriately. And then you want to be thinking about the regulatory changes, right? Because there are many, right? The government comes up with new laws, new regulations every day. And if you're going to be hiring employees, you're going to have to stay up to date with these compliance laws, these employee laws, labor laws, and things like that. So you want to be making sure that you're on the email list for these organizations as well, because you want to get the most up-to-date information regularly. You want to have some sort of advisory support. So a business consultant, a coach, an advisor, you want to have that. You want to be able to access a person who maybe specialize in a particular area that can help you stay on track and in compliance with your business. You want to have that because that's just going to help you be in compliance moving forward. There's so many things happening and changing that we just don't know about until somebody tells us or informs us. And we don't want to get caught up into trouble with any legal troubles at all, with government, with private, with whomever. And then understanding that government does offer incentives at times, right? Those incentives could look like tax incentives. They could look like grants. They could look like programs, contracts, right? There's all kinds of things that we can utilize our government for. Government really is your partner. They are a strategic partner. You have to make sure that you understand who's your city council, who's on your county board of supervisors, who's your assembly member. All of this matters to know who they are, but also to show up, because there are certain opportunities that can be offered to you just by way of showing up. There are also opportunities for you to share your feedback, for you to get follow-up, for you to ask your questions and voice your opinions and let your voice be heard. Maybe there's changes that need to happen. They need to hear it because they're the ones that are in charge of the changes, right? Maybe they don't know how this particular change is affecting you as a business owner because they've never been in business. So they don't even know what it's like. So again, you want to do your due diligence to make government your strategic partner. That is the end of this presentation. I'm going to open it up now. Are there any questions?
You have given so much fantastic information. Thank you so much. I mean, really, it's just been great. I'm even picking up a whole bunch of new stuff. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Were there any questions from anybody? Oh, they're just saying thank you.
Oh,
I have a question. I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. At the beginning, you talked about corporations and all the, I guess, the rules that you have to follow. Can you talk about a little bit about the corporations of the must do every year to keep up your corporation?
So with corporations, you've got to have your board, you've got to have your annual reporting. You know, you've got to have your monthly meetings and have the meetings tracked. You've got to have so many things in place. It's too much to kind of explain here, but you can go to like LegalZoom.com, Swift filings and things like that. You can also go directly to the Secretary of State, and they have a checklist of requirements for corporations, because that's who the governing body is for corporations. There are many things that corporations have to do. So if you want to know exactly what is required from you in the state of California, according to the state of California, certainly go to the Secretary of State website and download that list.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I do see a hand up. It says SL next.
Hi.
Oh, it looks like you're muted.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Katie Bowman. I'm with the City Economic Development team and have been listening in. And I want to thank the Chamber again for partnering with us on the annual Small Business Week, as well as everyone who attended. It's so awesome to see so many people and good questions. And then I'll just give a plug. I'll put our information in the chat, and the Chamber is your great resource for in the Renaissance Center for these business operation questions. But should you ever have questions about things that you need to do with the city, permits, business license, and things like that, as well as we have a facade incentive program for physical improvements, please do reach out to us. So I'll put our information in the chat. And of course, Emily and Guadalupe know how to reach us as well. So, but thanks again.
Thank you. That's great information to know. So definitely stay connected. Again, government is your partner. For sure.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Dene. It was just amazing to have you. And like you said, that there's so much out there, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, but there's people like you and, organizations like ours that could really help connect and give people at least, where to go and how to guide them to start a business. It's wonderful to see that so many of you are interested in either starting your business or, continuing the hard work. So congratulations to all of you for taking that step to becoming owners and business owners. I did want to plug in, we do have some workshops happening for the rest of the week. And then also, Dr. Dene, if I could share, if people come to me asking for your information, would that be okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, absolutely. And then we will share this recording. We will send an email following up for that. But I wanted to share our remaining workshops. Can everybody see my screen? It should be a schedule of our classes. Okay, great, amazing. So today we just finished our Business 101. Tomorrow we'll be having Accounting 101 with one of our members, Bottom Line Accounting. So it's, financial management for your business. And then on Thursday, May 9th, we actually will be speaking about how to do business with government. That's a morning workshop. It's virtual. And then in the afternoon, how to access capital. So some of these topics were touched today. So if you're interested in how you can have your business work with the government or accessing capital, we will have those workshops there. And you could email me or register through the calendar on our website. So we just thank you all for coming, for being part of today's workshop, and please keep in touch, sign up for our email list. I know Renaissance also has a way to connect with them via their social media or email list, as well as Leandro next and the economic development of the city. So thank you so much all for joining. I will go ahead and end the meeting. And Dr. Dene, again, thank you for your time and expertise today.
Thank you all for having us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Have a great
safe
day.
travels, Dr. Dene.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.